Want to see how a brand is created completely from scratch? Well, in this series, I'm taking you behind the scenes as I create a real brand and show you all the steps, all the process, and take you along the journey. And in today's episode, we're going to be looking at creating a visual marketing campaign. So this is the last piece of the puzzle. Basically, we've got all the brand together, everything's set up, ready to go, and now we want to start promoting. So I want to show you how I go about that and the process behind creating a visual marketing campaign so we can launch this business. So the first step of a visual marketing campaign is to get clear on the goal. What do we want to actually achieve by this marketing? And so for this particular instance, because I'm launching this brand and wanting to get it out there and create a campaign for that, my goal is to create awareness and also show off the brand, show off the product, and help people get to know the brand and create some buzz around it. So it's really about showing off that launch range, getting people excited about the brand and helping them get to know what this brand is actually all about. It's really important to know your goal because when you're creating a campaign, it could be all sorts of different reasons. It could be just a general brand awareness campaign. It could be a campaign for a particular launch or a sale that you're doing. You need to know what that event is. What is it that you're actually trying to achieve by creating this campaign? And sometimes it might be just small campaigns, just building up some brand awareness, but it's so important to know that that's what your aim is. So now that we know what our goal is, the next thing we need to be doing is brainstorming. So we need to start thinking about that goal and start brainstorming things that we could possibly do and directions we could take as a concept for this campaign. So I started brainstorming here and I've got things like some of the things around my actual brand, so things like being bold or feeling confident, creative expression, fashion is fun, and then also things around the idea that it's a launch, so things like launch and release and get it out there. And then I really like the fashion is fun idea, so I started expanding on that a bit more with things like wear with joy, play, playfulness. And then I quite like that idea of play, and I thought, things like pressing play, because we're pressing play on this launch, was getting this brand started, and also the play of playfulness. So I thought that as a concept could work quite well because it plays on both those goals of talking about the brand, helping people get to know it, but also launch. So with the concept of play, I started thinking about things like a VHC recorder and pressing play, recording a video, creating something that's a little bit vintage and retro but also really playful. So it's sort of playing on the idea of pressing play but also play and playfulness. So once we've started to get an idea by doing that brainstorming, then we want to create a mood board to start getting a visual idea of this concept. So I went on Pinterest, started thinking about the idea, that concept of play and pressing play but also playfulness, and started to put together a mood board that I felt really sort of communicated that and started to build on that concept. So basically for this mood board, I've just started to put together the kind of imagery, the feel and the vibe I want to create with this marketing campaign. So I really want to focus on the imagery. So I want to stay on brand in terms of my fonts, my colors, the overall feel of the brand and everything, but I want to get creative with this campaign in terms of the imagery. So I want to create a bit of a theme to my campaign. So as I said, I want to have that play theme. So it's sort of that vintagey, like a VHS press play. You can see here sort of that, you see the play as you're recording. So it's got that sort of vintagey feel. And then I've also got that playfulness. So things like roller skates, Cheerios, talking on an old vintage phone, playing with a Polaroid camera, that sort of thing, or lollipops. So there's this real sort of vintagey, playful feel overall. So I've just collected all these imagery to try and create a sort of feeling and vibe and direction as I start to create my imagery. So when it comes to creating a visual marketing campaign, you want to be sure that you're keeping on brand in a particular way. So it could be that you stay really consistent with your colors and fonts, or it could be that you're just staying consistent with the feeling and vibe of your brand. So you got to think about what's really recognizable about your brand and how can you make sure that that carries through with that marketing campaign. Because a marketing campaign is where you can get a little bit more creative. You don't have to just keep to the standard branding look. You'll notice this particularly with retail. Whenever they've got a big campaign, they want to make things a little bit different to catch your attention and get you excited. So they want to do something that's a little bit fun and different. And so when you're creating a marketing campaign, especially for if you're doing a sale or a launch, something where you want to create some hype around it, and it's not just regular everyday marketing just for brand awareness, but you actually want to get some hype going for something that you're putting out there, then you probably want to do something that's a little bit different to catch attention. So it could be creating a particular theme, or really focusing on some key point that you want to communicate. So then once we've done all that research, we've got a really strong concept, then it's time to plan and create. So we need to plan, what are we going to be using these things for? So what do we actually need to be creating? Then we actually have to create all the stuff, and then we need to work out how we're going to roll it out. In this case, I want to be focusing on Instagram because that was my main platform I wanted to focus on. So I want to be creating graphics that are going to be suitable for that. I'm going to think about creating reels, creating videos, creating graphics and photography, things that are all going to work on that platform. And then we've got to work on, creating the actual imagery, doing a photo shoot, working on the copy that we want to go with it, planning out exactly what we want, and then thinking about how we're actually going to roll it out. How many weeks is this going to go for? How many things we actually need to keep the momentum going. So you need to create a bit of a content schedule, think about, what you actually need, how you're going to be putting it out there, maybe saying, okay, I'm going to have one post, one reel, and do a few stories each day as we lead up to that launch. And then from there, you'll be able to actually make sure you create all the things that you need, and you'll have all the materials so you can get everything created all at once. You can batch create, and then you can roll it out all as you wanted to do it, and you're not scrambling last minute. You've got everything together ready to go. Now, something else that I wanted to discuss when it comes to building a brand is protecting your brand. It's so important that you make sure you cover yourself legally so that your brand is protected. And this is particularly important when it comes to your website, and particularly if you are selling things through your website. You want to be sure that you have all the right legal pages on your site, because when you're putting so much work into building a brand, you don't want to stuff things up by not considering the legal side of things. It's all good and well to create this beautiful brand, but we need to make sure that the legal side of things is covered. And when it comes to things like wanting to be able to set up Instagram shopping, things like that for your brand, they actually want you to have these pages on your site. So it doesn't just cover you legally, but it also has some benefits that come with it as well. Now, the lovely Erica of Plug and Law kindly sent me the legal bundle, which has all these pages. So basically, when you purchase the legal bundle, you're going to get templates for all those important pages you need for your website, because you're probably not a lawyer, so you don't know how to write these yourself. It's templates for privacy policy, terms and conditions, and disclaimer, all really important pages for your website. So I've used these templates to put up my legal pages on the Gentle Creative shop page, and I just feel so much more comfortable knowing that I've got proper legal pages, that I haven't tried to scramble something together and do a hodgepodge job of it. And it's just really reassuring to know that I've got attorney drafted legal pages and that everything is, proper, legally created, and I'm not going to find myself in trouble down the line because I haven't done it properly. Now, if you need to still set this up on your page, if you're building a brand or you haven't properly covered yourself legally and haven't added these to your website, then make sure you head to Plug and Law. I will leave the link down below, and you can get $20 off by using the code tabithaemma20. So if you need to sort that out for your website, make sure you check that out because it's a really great deal, and this is super easy. You're not having to run around and find a lawyer or hodgepodging something together with your fingers crossed that it's actually going to work out and you're not going to end up in trouble later on. It's just super easy. Get it up there and know that you're covered. So let's have a look at how I put this campaign together. So in terms of graphic inspiration, obviously I want to really keep in line with the branding I've already created, and I showed some really good examples of how I can do that with my Instagram branding, but I just collected a few little things just to think about how I can add that little bit of a vintagey twist to it when I'm creating this marketing campaign. So things like the fun stickers there, I could probably repurpose my Instagram stickers to something that looks a little bit more vintagey like that. And then also thinking about things like, vintagey type layouts and, the way type is used, making that sort of texture to it, and little things like that. I just thought a few little images just to help me thinking about how I can create that sort of vintagey feel. Now the photos. So again, I did my little trick of doing a video to create the images, screen captured them, and then to give them this vintagey feel, what I've done is I've used an app called Nishi, I think it's called, and basically it has a thing. And it's an app that's used for creating Instagram stories, creating that sort of collage feel. And it has some really cool ones for creating that vintage film look. And so I thought, rather than trying to edit, play around, take ages editing, trying to get that vintage look, I could just throw those images into this app and instantly get that vintage feel that I want to them. And so it looks really retro, really cool. And so I just put them in this app, save them, and now I brought them here into Photoshop to start working on graphics. And because I created these by recording a video and then screenshotting to capture the best images, I can also reuse that footage, that video footage, to create videos for the campaign as well. So it creates that multi-purpose. I've got the stills that I can use for graphics where I just want photos, and then I can use the video footage for creating things like reels. So as I said before, my focus in terms of social media is Instagram. So for rolling out this campaign, I want to think about what I want to create for Instagram. So that includes creating feed posts, creating reel videos, and creating story graphics. And then in terms of timeline, I was thinking 5 days. So I'll have a 5-day lead up, starting with, 5 days to launch. And then we'll have those 5 days where we're sharing graphics that are sort of getting excitement going, also sharing things about the brand and what's going to be launching to get people excited and help them get to know the brand. So they're thinking about those goals of the campaign and creating graphics that are going to be suitable for that. And then we're going to create some really exciting stuff for the actual launch day. So probably focusing a bit more on video that day to really get the hype up and, showing this is launch day, here it is. So So I hope you enjoyed coming along this journey. This was basically the last of this series. We've now created the brand, launched it, put it out there and everything. I might make one more video that's just a bit of a summary, basically just showing you the absolute final thing with everything coming together. But this is the last actual showing you part of the process. So I really hope you enjoyed this series. Let me know in the comments, and if you ever want me to do other series similar, let me know in the comments, and then I'll know if you want me to do other series similar to this where I take you through a real life thing or give some more examples rather than just telling you how something works. And of course, if you want to continue learning more about graphic design, creativity and branding, then be sure to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time.